help navigate and make sure we are staying on track and we're getting all of your questions answered. And so before we fully begin, I just want to take a quick second to say that we know how COVID-19 has changed our world in both big and small ways, including the way that we interact with not only strangers, but also with our friends and loved ones. So with that in mind, please know how thankful we are that you are allowing us this opportunity to connect with you virtually. And on behalf of UTSA, we thank you for spending part of your weekend with us this morning. So before we dive into our presentation, this is just a reminder to keep your mic and your videos muted throughout the presentation. We just want to make sure that we limit the amount of distractions for our presenter. And so at this time, I'll let you guys know that we have the wonderful Alasia Moore here to do our admissions presentation for us. And then during your presentation, we will have a chat box open. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see like a small bubble. If you kind of click around on the bottom, it'll automatically pop up for you. But there's a small button that looks like a text bubble. If you select that box, it will pop up with a little chat screen on the side, and any of your questions you'll be able to answer or ask in there. And so in the chat box, you will also see some of our other admissions counselors introducing themselves in there. So those will be the people that will be answering your questions throughout our admissions presentation. So the session itself will be about 45 minutes to an hour. The first 20 to 25 minutes will be dedicated to sharing all the information about UTSA admissions, how to apply, the different degrees we offer, financial aid, and then the last part will be a Q&A session. So if you're putting your questions in the chat box and they aren't answered, that's okay. We'll still have time at the end to address any additional questions that you may have. So like I said earlier, we have the wonderful Alasia Moore here to begin our presentation. And so I'm going to hand it over to her.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us. And like Destiny said, my name is Alasia Moore. I am the UTSA admissions counselor for the Northeast San Antonio area, as well as our Central Texas students. So for any of you guys, I've probably worked with you in the past here. And as she mentioned, we do have that chat feature. So go ahead and drop any questions below there, and our admissions counselors who have introduced themselves will be able to help you out, drop some links. And I do just want to remind you guys that once again, if you're just now coming in, go ahead and make sure your mic is muted as well as your video so we can have a smooth presentation. And then as well, if you happen to be calling in via phone, do know that while you're not able to participate with our voice or the chat feature, you can always feel free to email us directly at future.roadrunner@utsa.edu to get any of your questions answered. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do this presentation. It's basically going to lay out exactly what to expect as a Roadrunner and how to get here to UTSA as a Roadrunner. So starting off, we are in the great city of San Antonio. If you guys didn't know, San Antonio is actually the 7th largest city in the United States. So we are the Alamo city. So there's definitely a lot of history here. And when you're here in the area, you'll quickly find out that UTSA, we definitely have a synergy going on with the community here. We're about 50 years old, celebrating our 51st birthday this coming June. And this is just a really great place to kind of get to know the area, as well as go ahead and go into your endeavors in higher education. Now, this is just going to tell you guys about our actual campus and what encompasses UTSA. So we have 4 campuses. The 2 most important that I like to point out are main campus and downtown campus, because these are actually our academic areas. So essentially main campus, this is where you're going to have the majority of our majors. So if you're in the College of Business, College of Engineering, Liberal Arts, things of that nature, this is where you're going to have majority of your classes held. But downtown, if you happen to be a student who falls into construction science, architecture, anything of that nature, then your courses will be held there. And there are ways to get around. We're going to find out more about transportation with the university for our students who may need accommodations to get to and from each campus. Then we're going to have Park West. This is going to be towards main campus. So this is essentially like a athletic field, so recreational field, so soccer, things of that nature. So if you kind of want to get out there, get active, participate maybe in club sports, games, things of that nature, then you're able to do that fairly close to the main campus located off of 1604. So that's near the Six Flags of San Antonio. Then also we're going to have our Hemisphere Park campus. This also, for some of you guys from San Antonio or from the area, you may also know this as the Institute of Text and Culture. So this is essentially kind of like our cultural center. So this is where you can go and see art, whether it's being displayed by local San Antonio artists, Texan artists, artists from across the country. This is just a great way to, once again, kind of delve into the community and the culture here in San Antonio. Now, we're going to get into two important things that you always want to know about when you're trying to find a university that you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life at. So first is going to be, where will I be living? So starting off for housing, disclaimer here for our freshmen. At the moment, freshmen are not required to live on campus. So while it's not mandatory, it's highly recommended just because of the experience you get and the different ways you can utilize the resources here at the university. But here, what you're going to see are the different on-campus options. So whether you want to live in traditional style housing, suite style, or apartment style, you'll have those options coming into the university. And you'll see there on the map, everything in orange, that indicates all of our residential villages, and then everything in blue, the academic buildings, as well as resources. So you can kind of see it's fairly close. So we like to say from one end of campus to the other, you'll probably have about a 15-minute walk. So everything is definitely accessible as you get around if you want to walk. And then, like I said, we do have transportation options for you guys here at the university. This is just going to list out some of those amenities. So these are some of the pros that you would have about living on campus. So certain things will be taken care of. So furniture, you're going to have our laundry service, maintenance on campus for any little things that you need to have fixed within your unit. And also, once again, just kind of getting into that community aspect and really kind of dwelling in and becoming a part of the actual campus here. And this is just going to lay out some of those quick floor plans. So you're able to see the setup that you're going to get from the different housing options, as well as the actual villages and residential halls that house these specific areas. And we should have some links being dropped below in the chat for you guys to explore those different options as well. Okay, so next on that list of two things you want to make sure you're looking at, what am I going to eat at the university? So this little screen is just going to show you a few of our options. So we have Chick-fil-A, we have Panda Express. So there's definitely small eateries on campus, things that you can find off campus. You can also get here at the university as well. So this will be a great way to kind of just, stay on the go, get exactly what you need. And we have a lot of options that will accommodate different needs of you guys as students. Even have a way for you guys, if you ever, if you're not able to get to the actual UTSA dining hall, you want to get something from there. We actually have our Rowdy food truck that will set up at different points across campus. Sometimes, a lot of times, it'll be in front of the John Peace Library near the Sombria area. This is a great way also just to get those quick meals on the go. All right, so we've gone through the food, we've gone through the housing. Now let's actually get a look at exactly what is coming to UTSA. So a lot of things you can expect here at the university. The first being, we will be having a new science and engineering building opening up in fall of 2020. So essentially, this is going to be home to our brain health initiatives. Here at UTSA, we are working hard to continue to become a research institution. Each year, we're getting more and more funding. We're getting more and more experienced faculty on staff here. So that just shows that we're able to kind of make our way and making a mark in national levels here. But essentially, this is going to be the Brain Health Initiatives building, and this will also house a lot of our new labs. So this will be a great way if you are an engineering student, you can go in here and you can utilize these labs. But then also there's ways for you guys to actually view anything that's going on. So any assignments, any research going on, you can actually spectate while it's happening. Now, something else we're going to be having is a new residential hall. So this will be our Guadalupe Hall, opening up fall of 2021. Right now, this is slated to be premier housing for our honors college students, as well as other students as they come and go. But a really big important thing is a little birdie has told us that there's a possibility we're going to have our third Starbucks in the actual residential hall. So this would be great for you guys who have an 8 a.m. Maybe you're running a little late. You can pop downstairs, get that Starbucks as you go over to the actual academic buildings. So we definitely look forward to that. So for you all who are considering living on campus, this is something you can look to. And of course, we don't want to forget about our student athletes. We will be having a new athletic building being built in 2021. So this will be our Roadrunner Athletic Center of Excellence. So this is going to be a way for students who are student athletes to get in contact with their coaching and staff. You're going to have different study room areas within the actual facilities, as well as conditioning areas. So there's going to be a lot of things you guys can utilize all in one space to ensure that we're helping you find that balance between, you know, your athletic responsibilities as well as your academic. All right, and now this is also going to get to the transportation portion I mentioned earlier. So here at the university, you are allowed to have a car on campus. So whether you're a commuter or if you're living on campus as a resident, as a freshman coming in, you can have your car. But if you don't, or if you're coming from out of town, we do have a partnership with the San Antonio VIA bus system. And essentially this has led to the VIA U-Pass. So as a UTSA student, faculty, or staff member, you will actually have free unlimited rides on any of the San Antonio buses throughout the city. So you can go as many times as you like. So if you need to go to HEB, maybe over to La Cantera, to the shopping mall area, you can do all of that just by having this pass. So it's a really great thing you want to make sure you're utilizing as you're here at the university. So now I want to jump into some of the experience and resources that we've tried to provide for our students to complement your academic stay here at the university. So these are just ways to further your success here at the university. All right, so first we're going to have a first year experience. So if you guys didn't know, about 50% of our students are actually first generation. So that means that you are the first in your family to go on and pursue a four-year bachelor's degree. So with that being in mind, we want to make sure that we're providing all that we can to ensure that, you know, with you taking such a big step, that you're successful. And we just don't want you to get here to UTSA. We want you to matriculate through. We want you to see you graduate as well. So we do have the first year experience. So this is a great way where you're able to kind of find peer mentors of students who are coming from similar backgrounds as yourself, and just a way to have that support as you're going through your first year and making sure that you're getting set up for success. And also for any of our mixed status families, we do have Dreamers Resource Center. So this is a great way for you guys to, you know, if there's anything you need to know on how to get this process started and how to access different resources for making sure that coming to UTSA, we're making this as smooth a transition as possible. Definitely make sure you're utilizing this. They are definitely hands-on with everyone. They do presentations, they provide resources. So if you ever want to learn more on how to support students who may fit into this category, you can definitely visit the Dreamers Resource Center. We also encourage you guys to study abroad. So we have our UTSA Education Abroad program, and this is essentially where, as long as you have sophomore level credits, you can go ahead and start your plans to study abroad. So whether that's going for a 2-week faculty-led trip to Peru, or maybe you want to go ahead and do a full exchange program to Germany, you can do that. So it's a great way to kind of get involved. And when you're speaking with the Education Abroad office, you're able to find out different ways, you know, how can I finance this? Are there going to be scholarships that I qualify for? So there's a lot of things you want to make sure you're utilizing as you're here. So this is just kind of broaden your horizons, because we definitely are pushing out global citizens here at University at San Antonio. All right, so now I want to jump into some of our traditions here at the university. So of course, in the fall, we always host a week of welcome. So Midnight Light kind of kicks that off. So it's typically the Sunday before the start of classes. And this is held on main campus. So we're going to have all of our students come out. There's going to be music playing, the band will be out, our cheer squad will be out, and there's just a lot of going on here. But essentially the benefit of this is when it gets closer to midnight, we actually start counting down to that time we can set in the new academic year. And as you can see there in the picture, we're going to set off fireworks and what have you, and the party's going to continue, of course. But, you know, if you have the 8 o'clock class, make sure, you know, you're not being mindful of that in the morning, so you can walk over to your residential hall and be ready for your first day. All right, and then this is something that's also tradition. If you guys didn't know, here at UTSA, we actually got our official football team a few years back. All of our home games are played in the Alamo Dome here in San Antonio. So for that, we always have a on game day. So this is a great way, you know, to kind of rev up our players, get them going, show our support for them. So you see that we're going to have the band out, but students can also participate in that. So it really is a great way to just cheer them on throughout their games. All right. Now I've given you all of the cool stuff. Hopefully by this point you're thinking, okay, I think I'll look really good in orange and blue. Now we're actually going to get to, you know, what are the academics here and exactly what do I need to meet in order to attend UTSA? So here at the university, we do have over 160 degree programs spread out through our 7 academic colleges. And do note that out of those 160 degree programs, about 60 of them are actually offered at the undergraduate bachelor's level. So for all of you guys coming in first higher ed degree, that's what that's going to be. So first time freshman, what have you. So that 4-year degree, we have about 6 degree plans that you can choose from. Now this will list those here for you in alphabetical order. So you're going to see the different areas that you can go into. So whether you're interested in business, liberal arts, or some of our STEM areas, you can see exactly what we have. And I encourage you guys to visit the future.utsa/studies website so you can learn more about that. And there should be some links being dropped in the chat for you guys to explore. And now for these specific majors that are kind of highlighted here, I'm going to touch more on this later, but these are essentially our major specific required programs. So essentially you're going to have some majors where all you need to do is meet the general admissions requirements. And then for specific areas, you can see they mainly fall into our business and our engineering areas. As an academic college, the College of Business and the College of Engineering has also set their own admissions requirements that they want to look at for students when they first come in. But you can always find out more about that once again at that future.utsa.edu/studies site to see exactly what that is. Now, of course, for anyone who's interested in our health-related professions, since UTSA, we don't have currently our own UTSA School of Medicine, but we do still provide a pathway for you guys into those careers. So it's listed here, you'll be able to see the different areas that you can start your pre-tracks here at the University of Texas, San Antonio. And you'll see, with the exception of nursing, essentially you'll come to us, get your 4-year degree and graduate. And once you graduate at UTSA, then you'll move on to the actual medical institution that has the remainder of the program that you need to meet that health-related profession requirement. So you're going to actually have your own health-related profession advisor who will help you through it. You're going to have peer support that'll help you, with testing and exams and things of that nature. So you'll definitely have a support system in getting there. And of course, if you are interested in becoming a teacher, of course, we do have a education major under our interdisciplinary studies area. But also, let's say you just want you major in math, but you still want to have the option of being a teacher. We can also get you certified here. So we're approved by the state board to provide that certification before you graduate. So definitely make sure you're taking advantage of that and you're looking to your options when you are looking to become a teacher. All right, so giving you guys the academic background, now let's actually see what we will look at as an admissions office from our applicants. So first, when you're applying to UTSA, you'll find that you may fall into 2 categories. You may either fall into our guaranteed general admission or our admission by committee review. So you see here for guaranteed admission, we're going to look at the top quarters. So top 25% and second 25%. With the top 25%, you see that there's no minimum test score needed. Now, this doesn't mean to not test. This means that despite whatever your test score is, if you're top 25%, you will receive an admit decision. So whether you score a 9 on the ACT or a 29, you would get admitted if you're top 25. And then once again, as you'll see at the 75% under guaranteed, we'll also take a look at that quarter. And that's when we're going to start to put in some of our benchmark test score requirements. So we look at SAT or ACT. It's either or for us, so no preference, whatever you test it better on. So for SAT, we look at an 1170, or for the ACT at 24. And I do want to say, I know at the current times that we're in right now, we are having, waiting on exactly what we're going to be doing to accommodate for students who weren't able to test in the spring, or who were going to take their first test or retest or what have you. So we will be providing that information as soon as we get those updates. So do keep in mind that we are looking at that, but just continue, if you guys are applying still for the fall 2020, go ahead and keep getting that information in, just so that once we reach that decision, you'll already have all of your application and other supplemental documentation on file. Now we're going to go into admission by committee review. So you see here, once again, we're going to look at the rest of the quarters there, so second through fourth. And once again, we're going to have those minimum test score requirements. So with those test score requirements, in order to be placed into these actual review processes, make sure that whatever you're submitting meets those minimum requirements so that we can actually get in and review you guys. So this for a lot of students may mean, okay, well, great. Well, maybe I got a 970 and I'm second quarter. I need a retest. You can always retest and update us with your test scores. So we'll look at the highest composite score. We don't super score, so we won't take and make a new score out of the various attempts you've made. We're just going to take the highest composite score of whatever attempt from the SAT or ACT that's on file. Now, like I said, there are major specific requirements. Remember, again, to visit that future.utsa.edu/studies website in order to see exactly what those are. And this would be something as simple as maybe, you know, where for second 25 of guaranteed for general admissions, we need an 1170, then maybe if you're in the College of Business, they require a different SAT or ACT score. So just be mindful of that so that you are aware of all the expectations coming into your programs. Of course, we do have our honors college admissions. So for all of you guys, if you are interested in this, you'll see there the requirements that they look at so that this will kind of set the tone for exactly, you know, what to expect. And one thing to know about the honors college admission, this is not a separate application for the program. You can't apply to it directly, but it's an automatic consideration. So essentially they'll send you an invitation if you meet their requirements. So, you know, just look at that, keep that in mind, and always keep a lookout to see if you're being offered that chance to join the honors college. And this is just a great way if you want to continue that momentum you had going in high school. You're going to have special experiences that are expected of you as an honors college student to complete, so projects and just in ways to get involved in the community and on campus, as well as you're going to have premier access to the premier professors at the university. So they're going to be your mentors in your department. And then also you get to register for classes first with the start of every semester. So that's always a great way to kind of keep that momentum going when you're here. All right. Now these 4 steps here essentially kind of bring together exactly what it takes to make sure that your application is complete and that you can go into evaluation. So essentially, you want to make sure that you're filling out our application. Currently, it is on the applytexas.org website, so you're able to access it there. Then also make sure that you're submitting either a $70 application fee, or if you qualify, a fee waiver. So we're going to give more information on exactly, you know, what you need to do to qualify for a fee waiver, any additional documentation to be considered for that. And then, of course, make sure that you're having your official high school transcript submitted to us, as well as the test scores from the actual agency. So these test scores, they can't be the ones that are kind of connected to your transcripts. I know some schools, that's how it comes in. We do want these to come from the actual ACT or College Board Testing Agency. So make sure you're handling that. And then, of course, for anyone who's maybe a part of an early college school or you've taken dual credits, it's always helpful to go ahead and submit your college transcripts with that information. This isn't a mandatory item, but it is kind of supplemental. It helps us in the process in reviewing, as well as, you know, for the actual academic college and your advisor, having that on hand can help them should you get admitted and when it's time for you to actually register for classes. And then also some other supplemental information for anyone who falls into our committee review process. Once again, not mandatory, but highly suggested that you go ahead and submit the essay from Texas, this SAA topic, and letters of recommendation, and even a resume. So this will just once again help us in the process in reading your application, reviewing, and seeing you as a whole instead of just your transcript. And then, of course, if you're graduating early from high school, make sure that you're getting a recommendation letter from your guidance counselor to indicate that while you're applying to the university. All right, and now I'm going to switch it over to our international admissions rep here so that they can give you more information as an international student.
Great, thank you so much, Alasia. Okay, hi everybody, my name is Jessica. I am the Director of International Undergraduate Admissions here at UTSA. For those international applicants who might be joining us today, I'm going to go over the specific requirements for international students. If you have any questions while I'm talking, please type them into the chat box and I'll be able to answer them in a little bit. So let's go over how to apply as an international student. It's very similar to the requirements that we've just looked at. You apply online at applytexas.org. Complete the international freshman application from the drop-down box, pay a $70 application fee, submit your official high school or secondary school transcripts or your mark sheets, plus an English translation if those are in another language. The SAT and ACT is not required for international applicants. However, you'll see a little note at the bottom of the screen there. If you went to high school in the United States, you must submit an SAT or ACT score. And you can send those directly from the testing agency. And then lastly, for those of you who went to high school outside of the United States, submit your English language proficiency test scores. And you'll see a note there, we accept the TOEFL, IELTS, PTE Academic, Cambridge Advanced, and the ITEP exams. We also have a number of ways in which you can qualify to have that requirement waived, the English language proficiency test score waived. So please get in touch with us to find out if you qualify. For example, if you went to an international high school in another country where English was the language of instruction, that would be a way to waive that requirement. Okay, that's it for me. Alicia, back over to you.
Thank you, Jessica. All right, so let's get going here. All right, so we're going to get in more into that fee waiver information I mentioned earlier. And once again, if you guys look at the bottom of the screen for any of our international students, this is in reference to our domestic applicants. So international students would not qualify for the Apply Texas fee waiver, but for those who do as a domestic students, essentially the first two steps you want to make sure you're completing to kind of get that ball rolling is making sure that you're designating on the actual Apply Texas application that you would like to request a fee waiver. And then also, if you happen to receive a College Board fee waiver for the SAT or ACT, make sure you're submitting that. So it has to actually say that College Board on it. So I know sometimes for some schools, especially in the Texas area, you may get other miscellaneous fee waiver forms from your counselors or from your schools, but you want to indicate that it does say College Board in order to get that started for you guys. And then of course, should we need further information from you all, then this is kind of what you'll fall into. So another big thing is making sure that you're submitting your FAFSA so that we can receive your student aid report to see your your Pell eligibility. So that helps us in determining providing a fee waiver. And then once again, the following documentation, depending on what specific category may apply to you, will also let you know that we may need information regarding that. So I know for some students, you're not clear exactly what category you fall into or what is needed. Just know that we'll kind of let you know exactly what that is, but this can at least provide a basis for you all. Now, once you apply to UTSA, as soon as you finish your Apply Texas application, within 24 to 48 hours, you should be receiving an email from us with your actual My UTSA ID information. So this is how you're going to get to your student portal. We call it ASAP here at UTSA. So basically, this is where you can log in and check your status on your application, any of your documents that you've submitted, what have you. So this is a great way to stay in contact. So if you're not getting this information, make sure you're reaching out to us because we want to make sure that you guys are staying in the loop of things that you may need. All right, now we do have some important deadlines here. Now, of course, these deadlines, they tend to stay pretty static. So year to year, about the same. So for us, January 15th is a big, big date. This is our admission priority deadline, our financial aid priority deadline. But then if you want to be considered for specific UTSA scholarships, and these are scholarships that we provide for incoming students, incoming freshmen, the general scholarship and our distinguished presidential scholarship, January 15th is their final deadline. So we kind of set that financial aid and the admissions priority for you guys to make sure that you're being considered for these two if you want to get in the running for those. We're going to get a little more into exactly, financing your stay here at the university and what it will look like. Now, here's our cost of attendance for the 2020-2021 academic year. So essentially, we combine this with the fall spring. This is projected based off of the average student here on campus who's a Texas resident who lives on campus. So these are just projected numbers here, or numbers that you can kind of play with depending on your situation. The one amount that will stay constant for most students, all students, will be the tuition and fees. So this is what goes towards your credits. Your credits is what makes up your degree and basically your credits or your classes. So that's why that stays pretty constant for everyone. And then everything else, those are more of our variable costs. So those are expenses. So depending on the choices you make, where are you going to live on campus? Are you going to live at home? You know, what kind of meal plan are you going to get? Where are you going to get your books? All of that can be adjusted to your own specific situation. And we actually have a net price calculator that you can utilize where you can put in, you know, if you already know your spending habits or you anticipate exactly what you'll be spending on certain things, you can put that in, as well as provide any information on any financial aid offers, scholarships, anything like that, to help give you a more accurate idea of exactly what your cost of attendance will be at the university. And you see there's another website you can go to, so future.utsa.edu/net price. You can go ahead and utilize that tool. Now, one big thing that we're really proud of is back in the fall, we actually rolled out our tuition assistance program called the UTSA Bold Promise. So this is really big for us because this is our answer to providing tuition and fees coverage for students. So you see here, if you're eligible, then you can have up to 100% of 8 semesters within a 4-year time frame accounted for. So that will be covered under the Bold Promise program. So these are going to be the requirements you want to make sure you meet. So big thing is being a Texas resident. Your adjusted gross income for your family has to be about $50,500 or below. You want to make sure that you're submitting your FAFSA or your TAFSA by January 15th. And this will be applied to our students who are in the top 25% in their class, so that first quarter rank. And you actually have to be admitted by January 15th. So while that's our priority deadline for most students to get their application in, if you're Bold Promise eligible, you actually have to have received your admit decision by January 15th. So this means you're going to have to work a little bit earlier to get everything into us. And then also ensure to maintain your eligibility that you are enrolled in full-time hours each semester, so at least 12 credit hours to continue that for your tuition and fees coverage. And of course, for other things, we're going to have our scholarship hub. This is something that was introduced fairly recently in the last couple of years. So we actually have our own website, which will give you information on UTSA specific scholarships. So this is where you go in and you fill out that general scholarships application. Basically, it's one application, you put in all your information, and it will take and connect you with all of the scholarships at UTSA that you may be eligible for. So it helps cut down the search for you guys, but you can always go through and see exactly what else is available for you. Now, for financial aid, to kind of get it started, these are the 3 things you want to make sure you're doing. So essentially, if you don't have an FSA ID, want to make sure that you're visiting that studentaid.ed.gov website in order to get that, because with that FSA ID is how you'll actually fill out your FAFSA. So then you'll go to the FAFSA.ed.gov site to fill it out, send it to us, and this is something you're going to do every year. So to make sure that you're receiving funds for the next academic year, make sure you're completing this every year. FAFSA tends to open up October 1, so each fall, make sure you're meeting that date. Also, I always like to throw out that for you guys, especially if this is your first time experiencing financial aid, make sure that whenever you're going out to these websites, that it is actually a website that has .edu or .gov. If you're going anywhere where it's saying that you have to pay in order to fill out the application or to get information, then that will not be a legitimate site. Make sure you're going to these specific sites, because free is in the name of FAFSA, so you should not have to pay for anything. So make sure you're not missing out on any of that information. Once again, some more deadlines. So for the fall term, January 15th for financial aid, big date. And then if you happen to be applying for our spring term, November 1st will be the priority deadline you want to get in. So the earlier you get in, then the more piece of the pie that you'll be able to receive. So definitely want to make sure that you're maximizing everything that you are possibly eligible for. So make sure you're being aware of all those deadlines and those start dates. All right, and then we also do have our own financial aid virtual info sessions throughout the week. So they're hosted every Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. So this is a way for you to meet with one of our OneStop financial aid representatives, and they're able to kind of give you more information and speak to you directly for one of those technical questions about financial aid. And then, of course, visit the site in order to get to that at future.utsa.edu/virtual. All right, and then once again, OneStop Enrollment, like I said, this is where you can get quick questions on admissions, on financial aid, look at your student records, things of that nature. So it's a great way to kind of get information. And they do have chat features at the moment. So since we're all kind of working off campus here, you're still able to get in contact with them. So make sure you're using that live chat. They're really quick in responding. Even I've used it to ask some questions for some of my students. So it's definitely a great way to kind of get involved. So if you guys want to take a quick shot of that, what have you, it'll be a great way to kind of just, once again, get those questions answered as you're going through the process. All right, and now we're just going to introduce you to some of our counselors. So we do have admissions counselors. We do have specific areas that we oversee, as you can see them up there in the top corner, but these are the people that you can contact. So these are the ones that you're probably going to see at your high school visits, at college fairs, but then these are also individuals that you can contact specific to your area. So they're there to help you guys. So definitely don't be afraid. Some of them are there in the chat there today. So make sure you're getting that information so you can contact them as you're going through the admissions process. And once again, we have some virtual visits up for you guys. So of course, you guys are taking advantage of our UTSA day here. But then also we have our daily virtual visits. So this is a great way if you want to speak with student ambassadors or what have you and just get more of like a campus tour, you can visit those at those times throughout Monday and Friday. Or if you want to get another information session or invite your friends, maybe there's something you missed, you can always join us again. We're going to hold admissions sessions similar to this Monday through Thursday at 10:30. And of course, if you're ever just on the web by yourself and you want to do your own virtual tour, you can visit with Maria there down in the corner, and she'll be able to lead you through the university. So she'll give you a lot of great shots of the campus. So it's really a great way to kind of visualize yourself at the university. Stay informed with us. So all of this information can always be found at the future.utsa.edu website. And then also, if we have any of our social media gurus, you want to kind of stay in touch to see what we're doing on all social media, our handle is going to be the @UTSA Future RR. So definitely follow that to see what's going on here at the university. All right, I'm going to switch it over back to our moderator.
Right. Thank you, Alasia, for all of that wonderful information. Throughout the presentations, you guys were asking really, really great questions. And so I've kind of jotted down a couple that I saw a lot of, so that way we can address it to the group and everybody can hear the answer. And then if you have any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as we're speaking, and we'll be sure to answer that question for you. So one of the questions I saw a lot of was asking about TSI information and how we are handling it in the midst of COVID-19. So Alasia, can you answer that question? You're muted, Alasia.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so at the moment, of course, we know so many changes have been happening all rapidly. With TSI specifically, our testing service is currently closed for now until further notice. But for anyone, if you're trying to get your TSI information in so you can be exempted or what have you, right now we're kind of working on exactly what we can do. So if you're able to get in contact with your counselors and they have information, go ahead and give it over to us. But if you happen to be in the boat where, hey, well, I didn't get to do my testing or I didn't get to do the SAT so I can be exempted from TSI requirements, things of that nature. Like I mentioned earlier with testing, we're working as fast as we can to get that answer out to see what will be the best fit to make sure we're accommodating and meeting all of your needs. So just make sure that, if you have the information, try and get it over to us. And once again, reach out to your admissions counselor so that they're aware of your own individual situation so that we can provide faster answers for that. But at the moment right now, as we get more information on who's hosting TSI testing and what have you, we're kind of just going from there.
All right. The next question I saw a couple of people ask was about dual credit. So do we accept dual credit? And then if so, what do students have to do in order for us to receive it?
Yes, so we do accept dual credits. So essentially, as long as you've received dual credits in our general education courses, so your core areas, math, science, social science, English, then there's a high chance that most of them will transfer over to us. Now, of course, when you get your dual credits, like I said, when you're going through the initial admissions process, it's not a mandatory item to have on file, but it really does help to go ahead and have that there with us just so we can see, what classes have you taken. And then also it's really useful when you get to the point of orientation, because at orientation is when you actually meet with your academic advisor. And when your academic advisor is able to see your dual credits, then they can better judge what courses to go ahead and get you started off on in your area of study. So that's just really helpful. But for dual credits, once again, it's going to be like your high school transcript. If you're a San Antonio student and you're getting your dual credits from the Alamo College, make sure you're requesting from the Alamo College to submit that transcript to us, or for anyone else, if you're coming from a different area and you're receiving credits at another institution, just put that request in with them to have them sent over to UTSA, and we're able to add that to your file.
Okay, so a question that was dropped in the chat says, I need to submit paperwork that's required for financial aid, but it said I have to submit in person, so I'm not sure what to do. Can you assist this student, please, Miss Jessica? Jessica's a student, Elijah.
Oh, Jessica's a student. Okay, so if you have information where it's saying that you need to submit it in person, I would contact, I'm not sure when you were given that notification, hey, to submit it in person. So I'm not sure if it was prior to us going virtual, what have you, but I would go ahead and get in contact with the actual OneStop. Once again, that's where financial aid representatives are housed, and they're able to kind of go with you from there. Now, if you have already done that and they're still kind of giving you that submitted in person, then if you can email us or contact, depending on what area you're from, contact your admissions counselor directly so that we can have that person, once again, like one-on-one with you. And then we can kind of dwell more into exactly what your situation is to make sure you're getting everything submitted. But first, I would try visiting our OneStop to see if there's any information you can get from them on exactly how to submit those financial aid documents.
Awesome. The next question says, will the LEAD Academy be moved to an online course?
Yeah, so essentially, I do believe we should have information going out about our summer courses, since LEAD is a admit route that starts in the summer. So we will be having those moving to possibly going online for summer. So definitely keep a lookout for that if you haven't received it yet. But that's something where we're going to explore having online sessions in the future here.
Yes, and to our student that asked about the LEAD, I will also encourage you to reach out to the LEAD office and to the advisors there, because they will be able to give you a lot more detailed information about the steps that they're taking to address all of our wonderful LEAD students. The next question asked, so this is another question about TSI. We just addressed it, so if you could just reiterate for the student, if they don't get a chance to take TSI, it says, if I don't get a chance to take TSI and I have been admitted, I guess if you want to address what we're doing for our admitted students who haven't had the chance to take TSI.
Yes, so once again with that, we're moving on because we're trying to wrap up some of our conversations on how to address that for you guys, especially if you've already done, maybe you've already done orientation, you're getting ready to do orientation. At the moment, what we're doing is we're trying to see what to do, because we know, especially, with SATs and everything being canceled for the remainder of the summer for the June dates, we know that whether it's, the TSI, or maybe you're trying to take the SAT to exempt TSI, that's now going to be like a little gray area there. But right now, just go ahead and continue on. If you haven't already done orientation, go ahead and get that started so that, we can get that ball rolling. And once again, once we get a solid answer on what we're going to do to accommodate for the cancellation of those tests, then we're going to move into letting you guys know what to do. So, whether it comes to, do you need to take placement testing, what have you, we're going to try and move to that so that you guys are prepared with meeting with your academic advisors.
Awesome. And then I'm going to add just a little bit to that, if you don't mind. With the TSI, all of our admitted students who haven't taken their TSI, if you've already completed your online orientation, you can go ahead and set up your meeting with your academic advisor. They'll still advise you. You'll still be able to register for your courses. It's just, if you are, whatever subject you're TSI incomplete in, you won't be able to register for that course. You'll have to register for the remedial course. And then as things develop, as we figure out what next steps are, if you're able to take the TSI exam, we'll be able to remove you from that remedial course. Then you'll be able to register for your correct courses. I see a couple questions in here about meningitis. So Alicia, can you tell students how they can submit their meningitis information?
So if you do have access to that, then you can submit that to our health services. And then I know if you're unable to get the information at the moment, I do know that we're aware of that too. So essentially, we're going to kind of look at making sure that you're able to get that at least before the start of classes. You want to make sure that you're handling all of that, because it'll reach a point where if you don't have it in by the start of classes, you may have a hold on your courses. And if they're not in after a certain time period, then your courses will be dropped. But like I said, we are trying to make accommodations for that. So if you already have that, go ahead and get it in, and so we can get that over to our health services.
Awesome. So at this time, we have reached at the end of our presentation. We still do have a couple questions that are kind of lingering in the chat box, and we'll still be here to answer those questions. So, stick around a little bit, we'll be able to answer them. You can also submit your question in, if you're using the app, or if you're on the UTSA Day guidebook on your computer, on the side, it'll have a little chat box that says submit your questions. You can also submit your questions there. Please be sure to complete our survey. If you're using our UTSA Day guidebook app, the survey will be in the navigation bar. If you complete that survey, you have a chance to enter a drawing to receive some UTSA swag, and who doesn't love free stuff? So be sure to complete the survey for us. If you have questions, please let us know, and thank you for joining.